Hey guys, it's Beth and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit of a throwback Thursday. I'm going to be using a few of my old favorites mixed in with some newer stuff, but I thought that would be really fun to do. I'm going to be trying a new eyeshadow technique, that viral like reverse cat eye that everyone's been doing on like TikTok and stuff like that. So I'm gonna be trying that out. So if that sounds interesting to you, then just keep on watching. All right, so the first old favorite is this primer. This was my holy grail for years. This is actually my second or third bottle of this. As you can see, I've used a ton of it, and that I just haven't pulled this primer out in so long. What I loved about this was I didn't even say what it was called. This is the Touch in Soul No Poreblem primer. What I love about this is even though it is a pore smoothing primer, it still has a little bit of like hydration in there. So if you have dry skin, it's not gonna like suck out all the moisture and dehydrate you, but it is still very appropriate for oily skin in my opinion. I think pretty much any skin type could get away with using this. It doesn't have that like greasy, slippery feel of like a silicone primer, and in my opinion, I like this way better than I do the Benefit Professional. All right, so the next old favorite is this foundation. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth foundation. When I was having problems with really dry skin, I was getting like dry patches here, which I went through again recently actually, but when I first had that problem, I switched to more dewy foundation. This one is really cheap and it does have that like dewy look, and it also has a little bit of SPF in it, and it doesn't feel too heavy on the skin or anything like that, and it doesn't dry me out. I cannot use the matte and poreless version of this foundation because it is just too drying on me. So I thought I would give this one a try, and I loved it. This used to be like what I used all the time. So I just dot that around on my face and then I kind of spread it out with my finger. Keep in mind, if you do decide to try this foundation, it is a more like light medium coverage. It is not a full coverage foundation, but I kind of like that. I prefer something that is a little bit more in the medium coverage range because I feel like it feels and looks a little bit lighter on the skin. And you can always go in with a more full coverage concealer to spot conceal, so you don't have like layers and layers of product on your face. And I mean, this foundation does look beautiful. It gives a nice radiance, like a dewiness to the skin, while still adding decent coverage, kind of evening out this skin tone. So now that that's blended in, as you can see, my skin is evened out. It covered most of the redness and stuff like that. I still do have some like blemishes that need a little extra coverage, but it just looks really pretty on the skin. For concealer, I'm just going to be using this Tarte Ultra Creamy again. I did used to really like the original Tarte Shape Tape, but I no longer have that one, so I'm just going to use this. Now that that is dotted all over the face, I'm going to go back in with my beauty blender and just really press that in to my skin. As usual, nothing new or out of the ordinary here. I always think it's fun to go back to old favorites and see like what you loved about them and if you still love them. All right, so now I'm gonna do like a cream bronzer type of situation. I got this is brand new. I haven't used it yet, but I'm kind of interested to see how it works out. So this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup, and this I've been seeing people compare to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, which I do not currently have, but I decided to try this as a bronzer because it does have a bit of a glow to it. So I got the shade Medium Deep in this, and we are going to try this out as a bronzer and see how it goes. I ordered this from Ulta because I couldn't find it at my Walmarts or Target. So you just take this off, and I don't know if you're familiar, most people are, with the Instant Age Rewind Concealer. It has the very same packaging, just larger obviously, which I need to get a new Instant Age Rewind Concealer because that is good stuff. Okay, so now that we have some product, I'm just going to like start tapping that on my face. I don't know how much is too much or not enough. We are gonna start with that. Go in with a sponge and just start blending that in. Okay, that blends so incredibly easily. I feel like it is a good tone for my skin tone as well, to use as a bronzer, that is. Obviously, this would be more geared towards a deeper skin tone because this is supposed to be able to be used as a primer, concealer, highlighter, and a BB cream. So I'm not using it in a way that is recommended on the packaging, but you know, that's the fun of makeup, is you can just experiment and play with it and have fun, because if something doesn't turn out, you can always wash it off. Which I am loving that as a bronzer. That looks so pretty. It just adds to that glow that the foundation gave me without being like too over the top. I'm actually gonna try to see if I can build that up a little bit for a more intense bronze look, just to see what that would look like. And so far, I love it. Like, I am a huge fan of this as a bronzer. I would like to I would like to try this in my shade as like a primer or something to use as a highlight. I think that would be really fun as well. But so far, I took it a little low. I can fix that. It looks really, really pretty and natural. So now that we're nice and bronzed, I'm gonna do my usual, my Too Faced powder and my beauty blender, and just press that in under the eyes and down the center of the face, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now for blush, I actually have something brand new to use again, and this is from one of my all-time favorite brands. It is Alamar Cosmetics, and they actually redid their blush trio, so the one that I have now is no longer available. And this is in the shade medium tan, and this is what it looks like. Isn't that so freaking pretty? Oh, I'm in love. They have the shade Peach Beach, Fruta Bamba, and Dulce Sueños. I don't know, I don't speak Spanish, but I feel like I did a decent job at that. I don't really know, but yes, this is so freaking stunning. I already love my old one that I have, so I already know I'm gonna love this one. I'm actually gonna go in to Peach Beach mixed with Fruta Bamba and kind of just mix the two, because I want something a little peachy to go with the palette we are going to be using today. And these blushes, all of Alamar's like face powders formulas, they're not shimmery. Like, you're not going to see any flecks of shimmer. This one has a little bit of a shimmer through it, but these two and all of the other ones that I have just have like this slight satin luminosity to them that's not shimmery. It's not gonna look metallic on the cheeks, but it just adds a little bit of that natural glow. And I love that they are pigmented but not overly pigmented. You can build them up, they're not gonna overwhelm you. Just super gorgeous formula, gorgeous colors. They have one for fair to light skin tones and one that's even deeper for deep skin tones, but like I said, this is the medium tan, and it is so pretty. So now I'm going to move on to the eyes, and I'm going to start off with the NARS Tinted Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. Say that 10 times fast. Alright, and for the eyeshadow palette, this was a palette that I used to be obsessed with, and it is the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes. Paul got me this as a Christmas gift one year because he knew I wanted it, and I loved it so much. I haven't used it in a while, so I thought this would be really fun to dip into today. I also thought it'd be really fun to try out a new eyeshadow technique, like I said in the intro, that like reverse cat eye, where it's like the wing on the bottom of the eye. I don't know if I'm going to be able to achieve that or if it's gonna look any good, but let's go ahead and give it a try anyway using this palette. So I'm just gonna start on the top lid. I just want something really subtle and soft up there before we go into the drama on the lower lash line. So I'm just gonna go into this shade right here called Peach Cobbler, and it is a nice rusty warm shade. I am just going to start putting that into the crease and on the outer corner of the eye, just to add a little bit of soft, subtle definition so it's not just plain on the top. Then I'm going to take a little bit of Just Peachy right here just to kind of blend out the edges of that first Peach Cobbler shade that I used, just to kind of tie in that peach tone that I have going on the cheeks. Then I'm going to take Peach Meringue, which is the lightest cream shade in the palette, and just get that underneath the brow bone. These are such beautiful eyeshadows. They just blend effortlessly. They are super pigmented, but not like too pigmented where they're hard to work with. They're just really beautiful eyeshadows. So if you love your warm tones like rusty colors, peaches, plums, I think this is a really good eyeshadow palette. And then for the lid, I'm going to keep it all matte. I'm going to go in with this shade right here called Peach Butter. This is just a little bit more of a peachy tone matte in comparison to Peach Meringue, which is that matte cream shade that I used. So I'm just going to press that on to the lid just to add a little bit of brightness on that lid. All right, so that is literally all I'm gonna do on the top part of the lid. I'm gonna now take a brown eyeliner and get that into the waterline. You could also do this part with a black liner, but I want to do it with brown just because it matches the tones and the vibe I'm going for. I'm also taking this slightly on that lower lash line, as you can tell. And then I'm going to smudge that out just a little bit. And I'm not totally expecting this to be perfect because I'm literally just teaching myself how to do this. I haven't really watched any videos on it yet. So I'm just kind of learning as I go, seeing what works for me and my personal eye shape, which a lot of times I think is what we need to do when we see like these new eyeshadow techniques and stuff online. You got to kind of like adapt it to your personal style, preferences, and your eye shape as well. All right, so now that I have that smudged out a little bit, I am going to just extend right from the outer corner of that lower lash line and just kind of try to wing that out a little bit. And then I'm going to slightly connect it to the very outer corner of that upper lash line, not dragging it up onto the upper lash line, just that very outer corner, just so there's like some sort of connection between the two. And then I'm going to smudge that out a little bit. Now, my only concern with this look is that I kind of have like downturned eyes, and I feel like this is going to accentuate that and make them a little droopy, but we're gonna roll with it anyway and see how it turns out. I'm really interested to see what this looks like when I'm done. So now I'm gonna start smoking this out and defining it with some shadow. So I'm gonna go back into my palette, and I think I'm going to go into Chocolate Dipped right here. This is the deepest and the more cool toned brown, and I'm going to take that on this like flat definer brush. This is actually an Alamar Cosmetics brush, the best flat definer brush because it is so thin, so you can get really precise with it. So I'm just going to start getting that like in between the lashes to really start adding that depth and definition and smokiness. But I'm also going to go over that wing with it to try to perfect it and extend it out just a little bit. And then I'm going to take a small pencil type brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Peach Tart up here, which is a little bit more of a warm brown and a little lighter than the one that I just used. And I'm going to take a little like defined pencil brush and just start smudging the edges of that deeper brown, just working our way from darkest to lightest on that lower lash line. So this is looking a little bit crazy, but I think once we have mascara and everything on, it's gonna turn out. So I'm gonna take an even fluffier brush, but still pretty precise. It is pretty small, as you can see. And I'm gonna go into that very first shade that I used on the upper lid in the crease, and that is Peach Cobbler. And I'm just really gonna blend the edges of those deeper browns that I used to really smoke that out and soften it. And then I even took a little bit of that Just Peachy shade to really blend the edges of that to get that nice and softened at the edge. I don't want any harsh lines down there. All right, so I'm also just going to extend that inner corner a little bit, just using this deep shadow and a really small, precise brush. And I just kind of go in there and go follow that upper lash line in a downward motion. All right, so now I'm gonna go and do brows and mascara off camera, and we will be back for the lips, and I'll show you the finished eye look and see how it turns out. Brows and mascara are done, and I actually really like how this look turns out. I feel like really animalistic, is that even a word? But I feel like with my bushy brows and this eye shape, I don't know, I think it's really fun. And I think it's so fun just to like experiment with your makeup, try new techniques, try new colors and finishes, because that's what makeup's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be fun and not this like stressful thing where you have to have this certain end result that has to be perfect, because at the end of the day, makeup can be washed off and you can start again all over tomorrow. I just wanted to try something new today and I think it's really fun. So now we're gonna move on to the lips, and the lip combo that I'm gonna be showing you today used to be my holy grail. I wore this lip liner and this lipstick almost every single day. It was my favorite, and I haven't actually worn these products together in such a long time, so I'm excited to see how it looks. So the lip liner I'm gonna use is the Bodyography lip pencil, and this is in the shade Timber. I used to love this. It's kind of like a cool tone, kind of nude brown. So I'm gonna use this. I haven't used it in so long. And I'm going to slightly overline the lips as usual. All right, so now that I'm done lining the lips, I did make that line a little bit thicker so I have something to blend the lipstick into. And the lipstick that I'm going to be using is the little Beauty Bakerie Cake Pop lipstick, and this is in the shade Funnel Cake. Look how incredibly adorable these are. They are so cute and tiny. And this, like I said, is Funnel Cake, and it is just a true peach nude lipstick. So I'm just going to get this on the center of the lips, like the inner part. I don't cover the entire lip with this lipstick. So once you do that, you just kind of mush the lips together to give it kind of that ombre effect. And this lip liner has a lot more mauve in it than I remember, but I mean, it still is a really pretty lip combo. I just don't know if I love it as much as I used to. I feel like I would prefer to use something like Kylie Ice Latte, or that Pat McGrath one, or even Alamar Cosmetics Dulce liner. I think something like that would give the effect that I prefer a little bit better, since this Bodyography one, like I said, has a little bit more of a purpley mauve tone than I even remember it having. All right, so that is the finished look using some of my old favorites, my old tried and trues. I hope this inspired you to kind of dig through your collection and use some things that you haven't used in a while. I think it's so fun to like I said, go back and revisit some of those old favorites and see if you still have that love for them. I really love how this look turned out. It is something a little bit different for me. I mean, a lot of bit different for me to try this eye shape and this technique. I usually don't go for anything too bottom heavy because I don't want it to like make my eyes look droopy or anything like that, but I actually really like how this looks. Let me know what you think of this look in the comments, if you'd be interested in trying it or anything like that. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave and click the bell to be notified every single time I upload. That is it for me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!